even got invited to the White House, and I got to ask the questions at the press conference, and they let me make the list of people who is allowed to ask questions at the press conference. Check it out.
And now, Josh has given me the who's been naughty and who's been nice list, and I'm going to use it to take some questions.
Mr. President, this is kind of a multi-tiered question here. I'd like to know what you think about the current state of Philadelphia comedy.
Right now, it's sort of the Wild West.
And do you have any thoughts about the recent closing of the Laugh House Comedy Club? And do you think that was a mistake for them to do that?
Well, let me address the second question first. Suffered significant damage. There were threats against its employees. I am sympathetic to the concerns that they faced. Having said all that, yes, I think they made a mistake. I wish they'd spoken to me first.
Do you think a different comedy club opening up had anything to do with the Laugh House closing?
Is that what it takes for suddenly you to pull the plug on something? The notion that that was a threat to them, I think gives you some sense of the kind of regime we're talking about here.
Okay, back to the first question. What do you think about these so-called comedians who thrive off of stolen jokes, many times snatched right from the internet?
There are going to be opportunities for hackers to engage in cyber assaults, both in the private sector and the public sector. Now, our first order of business is making sure that we do everything to harden sites and prevent those kinds of attacks from taking place.
Now, without stuttering, can you describe any measures that have been put in place to stop these joke thieves?
When I came into office, I stood up a cybersecurity interagency team to look at everything that we could do at the government level to prevent these kinds of attacks. We've been coordinating with the private sector, but a lot more needs to be done.
What would you say to promoters of clubs who continue to employ these hackers?
Let's not get into that way of doing business.
Okay. When it comes to eradicating these karaoke comedians, how close of a reality do you think this is?
We're not even close to where we need to be. And one of the things in the new year that I hope Congress is prepared to work with us on is strong cyber security laws so that we are incorporating best practices and preventing these attacks from happening in the first place.
You're quite the comedian. Let me ask you, do you think by making ourselves better as comedians that we will rise above the hackers, the joke thieves?
But even as we get better, the hackers are going to get better too. Some of them are going to be state actors. Some of them are going to be non-state actors. All of them are going to be sophisticated, and many of them can do some damage.
What would you say when you approach one of these hackers or joke thieves or karaoke comedians, and you approach them about some used or stolen material, and they act like you've offended their sensibilities?
Somebody whose sensibilities probably need to be offended.
Do you have any advice for real comedians who see this as a brazen assault on the integrity of the art form known as comedy?
Do not get into a pattern in which you're intimidated by these kinds of criminal attacks.
What I think that we all want to know is there a plan in place to prevent these hackers or joke thieves from ascending the entertainment ladder?
So we'll engage with not just the film industry, but the news industry and the private sector around these issues. We already have. We will continue to do so.
Do you think there's anything you can do to rectify the situation?
We will respond. We will respond proportionally, and we'll respond in a place and time and manner that we choose. It's not something that I will announce here today at a press conference. Again, this is part of the reason why it's going to be so important for Congress to work with us and get an actual bill passed.
What risks are at stake if one of these fake comedians gets major exposure in television or movies?
You know, if we don't put in place the kind of architecture that can prevent these attacks from taking place, this is not just going to be affecting movies. This is going to be affecting our entire economy in ways that are extraordinarily significant. You know, that's not who we are. That's not what America's about.